That is the Commonwealth grasping at straws. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck.
Thank you all for being here. I'm extremely proud to stand here today, proud of each of you, and more importantly, proud to be part of this movement. Last November, I, along with 8 others, stood on a busy road in Canton. We were harassed by officers who didn't even understand the laws they were trying to impose on us. Little did we know that a special prosecutor named Ken Mello was among those harassing us. The Canton Chief of Police, Helena Rafferty, filed a criminal complaint against the 9 of us for holding signs that read "Justice" and "Free Karen" across the street from where Officer John O'Keefe and Karen Reed began their night in January. Helena Rafferty refused to provide the discovery necessary for us to fight the baseless complaint brought against us. Helena Rafferty did what she did best. She gaslighted me, played dumb, and implied that I was dumb as well. Until I finally obtained the recorded calls. Helena claimed there was only 1 call on the 9 of us, but she was lying. There was 5 calls from Ken Mello, the special prosecutor. He was pressuring the Canton police to arrest and charge us, even after being informed that we had the right to protest. He succeeded in his goal. We received a summons to appear in court. We were told we would hear back within 1 to 3 weeks regarding the probable cause. 7 months later, I had to fight for that answer too. The verdict, there was no probable cause. Yet, just 2 weeks ago, Chief Helena Rafferty stated they are exploring options to appeal that decision. I earned my master's degree in criminal justice just this past May, and I had to hold off on applying to jobs and other programs to pursue my lifelong goal of working in the criminal justice system. Thank you. We are not criminals, and now others are facing the same fate from the government for expressing their opinions. They will fight for their freedom in November, and we will all be there for them too. Oh my God. Everything I learned in my undergraduate and graduate programs starkly contrasts with the actions of Michael Morrissey and those who work under him. They lack integrity, compassion, objectivity, judgment, empathy, and ethics.
You're doing good. You're doing great.
I ask you, Andrea Moore, do you take pride in those beautiful qualities, or do you lack them too? Why are we paying double the salary in just 1 year to law enforcement officers who use red Solo cups to collect blood and haven't employed evidence tape in years? We are funding the salaries of homicide detectives who harass random citizens for words spoken online over a year ago. Why are we paying for an academy where a man was left for dead just last week? We don't know what happened to Enrique last week, but I do know that nobody should end up dead during a training exercise on our dime.
No way.
Why are we compensating to investigate the alleged murder prosecution of Karen Reed, who is factually innocent? Why are we paying those same detectives to neglect the investigations of a young pregnant woman and a Boston police officer? Sandra and John deserved more. Oh, I lost my spot. Hold on. Why are we paying special prosecutors to charge journalists? Why are the ones demanding justice when we pay you to do that job? Why are we financing your safety from the moment you walk out the door until you return home, while you do not offer the same protection to us? Why are we placing our hopes in a higher entity to resolve all of this? The entire world is watching. Are you? I hope you are aware of these issues and concerns of the citizens who are screaming for help. We don't feel safe, and your silence is crippling the trust that we have already been lost among the people you are supposed to protect. At the very least, you can acknowledge us and tell us you hear us. Finally, why are we paying for a second trial with an outside special prosecutor?
Yeah!
Even Michael Morrissey does not have faith in his office, and neither should you. Why are you allowing those in power to weaponize states' laws to financially and mentally ruin the law-abiding citizens of the state? How many more freedoms and lives will be sacrificed before you take action? Karen Reed is a courageous woman who has become a symbol of resilience in the face of adversity, even when confronting a series of injustices that have attempted to strip her of her dignity and rights. We refuse to tolerate it any longer. I'm borrowing the words from the disgraced and corrupt District Attorney Michael Morrissey. It needs to stop now.
Great job, Deanna.
Laura, stop the horror!
I'm just gonna say a few words. I'll just bend over. Oh, okay. Anyways, people ask me, Paul, why are you going to the Statehouse on a Thursday in the middle of the day? And I look around and I see how many people have given up their time because Karen Reed was falsely accused of murder. She's factually innocent. We have a young woman who was murdered by a Stoughton cop, and he was on the streets for 3 years before anything happened. That's why I'm out here, because it could be any of us. There's so much corruption going on in the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. And people ask me, are we making a difference? Are we making a difference being out here? For the first time, and I don't know how long, so far, 2 people have stepped up to run against corrupt meatball Morrison.
Meatball's going down!
So every time we raise our voice, the Mass State Police, the DA's office does something to try to silence us. It started with Aiden Kearney. They tried to silence him. We got louder. The Canton 9, they tried to silence the Canton 9. We got louder. They sent Aiden to jail. We got louder. And then when Karen had a trial, they tried to put a buffer zone so we couldn't be heard, and we were heard louder. So if you ask me why I'm here, that's why I'm here. Any single one of you, any single one of my kids, my grandkids, or anybody could be Karen Reed or could be Sandra Birchwell. Any one of us could. And I personally don't live in Norfolk County, but this is not Norfolk County anymore. This is statewide and nationwide. So that's all I got to say. I want to thank everyone for coming. At this point, I want to bring up Aiden County.
How's everybody doing today? Good? First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out here. We really appreciate it. I see Nathan Reed over there. Give it up for Nathan Reed. Carol's big brother over there. There you go. Excellent. Thank you guys for coming, not only to all of the Karen Reed protests, but to my protests, to my court dates, for the Canton 9, for Sandra Birchmore, for everybody who's been wronged by this corrupt administration. We really, really, really appreciate it. So we are making our voices heard out here. We came to the Statehouse for a reason, because this is ultimately the people inside this building are the ones who can do something about this out of control renegade criminal organization known as the Massachusetts State Police, who is weaponizing the power that we've entrusted in them to attack innocent people, to turn them into criminals. 5 more people this week are getting summons in the mail for witness intimidation because they sent a murderer, in case I'm not very clear about that, a murderer by the name of Jennifer McCabe, who murdered John O'Keefe, who Googled how long to die in cold at 2:27 a.m. It is undeniable that she did that. And then they have the nerve to protect this woman and make her seem as if she's the victim, as if this murdering psychopath who left a man out there to die in the cold somehow deserves sympathy and protection from free speech. It's outrageous. It is outrageous. And this outrageous witness intimidation statute that has not only been used now and weaponized, it's been in existence for like 30 years. And the first time it's ever been used as a journalist is when that journalist had the audacity to question the state police investigation of a very, very flawed investigation at best. At worst, what we know it to be is a cover-up. It's outrageous, outrageous. And now, our tax dollars, every paycheck, you guys lose 40% of your salary to go to the government. And what are they doing? What is that supposed to go towards? It's supposed to go towards public schools and roads and the police and our courts. Well, we have a district attorney's office that hires ADAs and pays them with the money that is taken out of your paycheck. And it's supposed to be used to prosecute guilty people and put them in jail, not prosecute innocent people, which is what they're doing to Karen Reed. And now, as if one trial wasn't enough, as if one government hack named Adam Lally wasn't enough, he wasn't good enough to get Karen Reed. Now they want to pay millions of dollars to some mob attorney hack by the name of Hank Brennan, who wants to defile his own career, just throw it all away and light it on fire in order to step up to the plate and take on this loser case that has absolutely a 0.0% chance of going anywhere. If he wants to do that to his own reputation, he's welcome to. If he had, maybe, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he had no idea about any of the facts in his case. Well, he gonna learn. He gonna learn. He's got, if in a week he says, you know what? Actually, this was really stupid of me. I had no idea I was signing up for such a train wreck. I will at least respect that. But if he chooses to become part of this, if he chooses to take part in, let's be clear, what is pure evil, that is what they are doing right now. They are participating in pure evil. Then he's a villain as well. He's a villain as well. And it really says a lot, doesn't it? Jennifer McCabe is represented by Kevin Reddington, who represented Catherine Gregg, Whitey Bulger's lawyer. So now the state's prosecution is being led by Whitey Bulger's lawyer and Whitey Bulger's girlfriend's lawyer. So congratulations, Michael Morrissey. You have handed over your office to the mob. Well done. Well done. The people that are supposed to protect us from this have held it over to the mob. And by the way, who prosecuted Whitey Bulger? Oh, right, the federal government. And who's looking into the Norfolk DA's office right now? The federal government. That's why they brought this hack clown on named Hank Brennan, who wants to throw away his whole career on this loser case. So again, we want to see more state representatives like Mike Connolly, who I've never been a fan of before, who at least came out here and stood with protesters and said, free Karen Reed. We need more of that from our leaders. We need more leaders, and we need Maura Healey. I mean, Maura Healey, the state police work for you. You had really sharp words when you read Michael Proctor's disgusting text messages about Karen Reed. But let me tell you what's even more disgusting than those misogynistic messages that he sent to all his cop buddies, like Koskowski and DeChico and Fanning and Bukaki and all of them. They all got those messages. They were all okay with it. What's even more offensive than that is that he conspired to plant taillight in order to frame an innocent woman so that a cop who was murdered in cold blood will never get justice. Never get justice. It's disgusting. Disgusting what these people have done. And they have the audacity to come after me and try to put me in a box because I called them out on their nonsense. Well, I'm never going to stop, and you're never going to stop. And the more they try to stop us, the louder we get. So I want to thank everybody for coming out here. I love you guys. Keep up the great work. And thank you, Paul, for organizing this thing. And Deanna, of course. Thank you, Deanna.
Is she here? No. So, thank you. She's kind of short like me too. So I'm going to introduce Mizzy.
Here you go, Mizzy.
Yeah. Go, yeah, right there, right behind her. Yeah. No, good.
For all that don't know me, my name is Mizzy. I run the Justice for Sandra Birchmore page. I run it with some of these wonderful women that a lot of you guys know. Annie, Trisha, Suzanne, and my silent partner, Barb, Sandra's cousin. Even though I have a migraine today, I knew I needed to be here because Sandra needs justice. And I felt I need to come out and speak to the people up in the Golden Palace because they are not listening to what is going on, the reality of what is going on in the streets of Massachusetts. I want to thank the FBI because they stepped up and got this animal off the street. He murdered Sandra Birchmore and set it up to look like she killed herself. He was on the streets for over 3.5 years. This monster was roaming the streets thanks to Michael Morrissey and the Massachusetts State Police. Yes, and Canton Police. Thank you for reminding me. You know, they were just celebrating the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. This is the birthplace of America. We need to fulfill their dreams. They put the First Amendment first because they wanted the people, not the government, to be able to speak. So it is so important that we all keep using our voices. We all keep standing up for injustice.
Yeah. Go, Busy. You're doing great.
Sandra was born in Boston. And she lived in Stoughton most of her life. She was a real person that had hopes and dreams, and these animals took it away from her. She looked up to law enforcement like they were gods, but they're the ones who destroyed her. They took her life. They took her innocence. They stole everything from this young woman. Matthew Farwell is sitting in a prison right now. Actually, I should say jail right now. He's not in prison yet. But we still have 2 other perpetrators to get off the street. William Farwell and Robert Devine. They're both as sick as Matthew. They both defiled Sandra. They both treated her like garbage. They both groomed her as a child.
Lock them up.
Yes.
Shame on them.
I forgot to do one thing. I thank my wonderful team, but I forgot to thank you all because you guys have embraced me. You've let me, come and hang out with you guys, and you guys have come to my standouts and come to the page. We are up to over 14,000 people on the Justice for Sandra. And thank you, because I know a lot of you are on there, and we appreciate it so much. Thank you. Let's talk about the Massachusetts State Police Unit under Michael Morrissey. Trooper Fanning and Trooper Dunn lied repeatedly to Sandra Birch's family. They looked her family in the eyes and they said that she killed herself. They looked her family in the eyes and said she murdered herself, but she didn't. Fanning had all of those texts that Matthew Farwell was texting to Sandra, all those disgusting texts, asking her to pretend she was 13 or 14. She was brutalized by this man and put under his thumb. And the Massachusetts State Police just let this animal roam the streets. Who else did he hurt? We don't know. The Stoughton Police, I don't know how you allowed this to happen under your watch. Yes, shame on them. They should have known what these 3 men were up to. And my question is, I understand. I think you did pretty good on the internal report, but you kind of stopped short. Were there other children? How many other children did this happen to?
We want to know.
Because we know there was another child groomed in 2002. So I doubt there's, no other children in that 10-year period before from her to Sandra. What other child was brutalized, groomed? We need to know this. These are answers we need to know. And Fanning and Dunn let these people still be on the streets. The FBI had to step up, and I'm thankful for that. I need you guys' help because I need them to know her name. So when I say Sandra, you say Birchmore. Sandra! Birchmore! Sandra! Birchmore! Sandra! Birchmore! Sandra! Birchmore! Justice for Sandra Birchmore. I am Mizzy. I love you guys.
Great job, Mizzy. Before I bring up another speaker, I have one question. If you see the billboard walking around, there's something that says on there, and this is to Andrea Campbell. The whole country is watching. Why aren't you? So that's a fact. I'm going to bring up our next speaker. She's from Canton, and that's Rita Lombardi.
Yeah! Hey, Rita!
Hey, everybody. I'm sure I'm a little bit late today, but thank you all for coming out here. This is the Karen Reed movement. This is the movement of truth and justice. And we are not going to stop until we get it. And thanks, this movement started off for Karen, for justice for John O'Keefe and justice for Karen. Because without justice for Karen, there is no justice for John O'Keefe. With the wrong murderer is tried and convicted, which he will never be convicted.
Never.
But since never. And since we started this journey together, we have more names to add to the injustices. We have, where'd you go here? Right here. We have Sandra Birchmore, which you just heard about, who was taken advantage of by the Stoughton Police Department. Disgrace. We have Justin Root, and we have Trooper Enrique Delgado Garcia. Enrique, he wanted to be a Mass State Police. That's what he wanted to do. He went to the training program, and he came out with a broken neck, a broken leg, broken teeth, a smashed skull, and they say it was a training accident, a tragic training accident. I don't know what kind of training they're doing there, but that's not the kind of training you find in the private sector. That is insane. It is not how you train your police. I don't care. Somebody comes out with a broken neck and a broken leg and broken teeth. Something is wrong. When Officer John O'Keefe, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, is tragically murdered, and his body is left on a lawn like trash, and his brothers and sisters in the law enforcement community do not stand up in outrage and speak against this, something is wrong.
They killed the rule.
When Karen Reed, an innocent woman, is framed for the murder of her boyfriend without an eyewitness and without any scientific evidence to prove it, but the prosecution and the Commonwealth decide that they're going to do it anyways and waste taxpayers' money, something is wrong. We cannot have that. When we have a judge who insists that there is no personal connection, Judge Beverly Canone, also known as Beverly Prescott, when she says that there is no personal connection, but her actions speak louder, and her actions show undeniable bias against the defense and the defendant, something is wrong. When the judge gives misleading instructions to the jury to confuse them after she allowed a 9-week trial that should have been maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and gives them confusing instructions and then declares a mistrial without querying the jurors to find out if they reached any verdict in the 3 charges, something is wrong. And then when they tell her, well, the jurors came forward and 2 out of the 3 charges were not guilty, she looks the other way. Something is wrong. We are here standing for justice. People want to say we are a cult. We are not a cult. We are peaceful, law-abiding citizens that have come from all over, that are standing in support for people we don't even know. We have gotten to meet Karen Reed and her family, but we did not know any of them before this journey started. We all knew something was wrong. So we stood up and used our voices in positive and productive ways to insist on transparency and accountability from our leaders. And that is why we are here today, and that is what we demand. Truth and accountability. These cases involve the Canton Police Department and the Mass State Police. I've been a Canton resident for 45 years. My ancestry goes back to 1907 in that town. And my great-grandmother and great-aunt had 20 kids. My family's roots go deep in that town. When I grew up, my father's cousins, one was a police officer and one worked for the fire department. And as a child, I idolized them. I thought they were the best because I knew that they were the salt of the earth. And when all of this began to unfold, I could not believe that this was happening in my own hometown. It's outrageous and it's unacceptable, and we are not going to tolerate it. No! We want justice. And we have learned through this process. We continue to learn from this process. And as we advocate, more and more information comes out that equips us with information that we need to know in order to advance the cause. And with the Canton Police Department, there are about 43 employees on the team. 35 of them, per the chief last fall, were born and raised and lived in Canton. That's 82% of your workforce born and raised in Canton. These are generational police law enforcement families. These families grew up together. They went to school together. They went to family celebrations together. They went to college together. They went to the police force together. Guess what? They are family. They are family, and no private sector company would have 82% of its staff family. It breeds corruption and it clouds objectivity. It is a formula for failure, and that's what we are seeing. We have no oversight. We need oversight. We need change in this state. And the people here are the best people in this country. Law-abiding citizens who are doing what's right and making personal sacrifices, both sacrifices financially and personal, to be here to stand for an innocent woman and to stand for Sandra, Jason, and now Enrique. It is a disgrace what has happened to these people, and we could be the next Karen Reed. Our children could be the next Sandra Birchmore. Our children could be Justin and Enrique. And we will not tolerate it anymore. We want accountability. We want leadership. We want checks and balances. And please, we want the federal government to come in here now and help us. Help us. Help us now. So, listen, I know, Josh Levy, you guys have your own timeline. I get it. I get it. We've been patient. We beg you. We need help, and we need it now. We are not safe in our communities, and we won't be safe until this issue is remedied, until we have checks and balances in the system. And that is how things have been able to go so rogue, is because the public sector does not have checks and balances. And that is what we have seen. You would never see these failures in the private sector. There are checks and balances to prevent this, but in the public sector, it doesn't matter. Why? Because there's zero accountability. When you don't do your job, no big deal. Your family will look the other way. That has to stop. They can no longer look the other way. We need accountability. This is the United States of America, and this is a disgrace. Norfolk District Attorney is a disgrace. Norfolk County is in trouble. We have a problem. We have lawless people, and look, we support the blue. Don't we support the blue? We support the blue, but we support the law-abiding blue. We do not support the lawless blue, the ones who think they're above the law. We do not support you. We do support the law-abiding blue, and we are here speaking, and we are asking you to help and stand up with us. These are all courageous people. These are all courageous people, and do what you can. If you can't stand out with us, then at least speak up to those that are close to you. Get informed. Learn the facts. No more gaslighting. We are being gaslit by the Commonwealth. This is a complete role reversal from the Commonwealth and the defense. And the Commonwealth is full of lies, gaslighting, and all that other rubbish. And they have pushed the onus onto Karen Reed to prove her innocence by hiring experts to do the job the Commonwealth should have done. So we, as citizens of this county and citizens of this state, have paid for one fiasco of a trial, which we knew Karen Reed was never going to be found guilty of. Never. No reasonable jury with common sense would ever convict Karen Reed of any of the charges. Why? Because she's innocent and she was framed. So I say, raise your voice. Raise your voice. Talk to whoever you know. Help us spread the word. We are calling out an SOS. We need help, and we need it now. Help us. We won't stop.
Good job, Rita.
So I want to introduce some of the strongest people I've ever met. The beautiful Reed family.
Yay!
Much lower. Good afternoon, all. Thank you so much for coming out. I'll make this very brief because how do you follow Rita? I don't know that you do. My entire family is extremely touched. We remain so. The amount of time you've all taken out of your work, away from your family, it's incredibly touching, and it's not lost on us, not for a single moment. So thank you all.
You're welcome. We love you. You're welcome.
Over to my right shoulder here is a statue of John Kennedy as a senator of Massachusetts. I think it's just beyond these trees. He wrote a book, Profiles in Courage. That's what you all are, okay? This is not over. We must prepare for round two, and we need all of you. We need all of your support, all of your love, okay? I'll back up what Rita said. Please tell everyone. Show them the facts. We have the facts. This isn't about feelings, right? This is about facts, all right? We come with receipts. Thank you all.
So there's a sign over there that says Karen Reed is innocent. There's some markers there if you guys can sign it. For Jamie in Arizona, we're going to send the banner over to her. So it's a piece of Massachusetts with her over there, okay? Thank you.
I just want to say, Deanna, Bobby, and I might have put this on paper. We might have put it on the pages, but this wouldn't happen with every single one without any of you guys here, because everybody cares. So this is our protest, everybody's protest. And I want to thank everyone for coming. We're going to be here till 2 o'clock, so let's hang out and let's see if Mara and Ms. Campbell can hear us.
Smash the tail, they change the tune. Photo snap another moon. Bloody prints and muddy past. Money trails that never last. Defendants race behind them.